Today we're taking a look at the Kunwu Excalibur. Now the Kunwu Excalibur is one of the most anticipated knives to have come out recently. The first iteration of it came out last year, and this year we're seeing version 2 of it. The reason that the Kunwu Excalibur is so anticipated is that the Kunwu Excalibur is a collaboration between Kunwu and the YouTube knife reviewer Metal Complex. What's up guys, I'm Garrett. You're tuned in to the Cutting Room Knife Review, where I review knives, blades, and all things sharp. Please like and subscribe so I can keep bringing you more killer knife content. Now, Metal Complex is an incredibly famous YouTube knife reviewer, perhaps the most famous. He has a ton of experience reviewing knives. So many knives have came across his review. He knows his stuff, and he put together quite a nice knife. It has influences from 5 of his favorite knives. Now, his 5 favorite knives that influenced the Kunwu Excalibur were the Spyderco Shaman, Rick Hinderer's XM18, Mick Strider's SNG, the Chris Reeve Umnumzon, and Doug Ritter's Hogue Griptilian. Each of the knives in some way inspired Metal Complex to put some feature that he felt that he got from those knives into his own knife. And it is an amalgamation of all these good traits and what he likes in a knife into his model. And I have to say, he really did a good job. This is an awesome knife. Now, to call your knife the Excalibur is pretty bold, and it had better be a good knife if you're going to call your knife the Excalibur. Now, if you don't know the Excalibur, it was the sword that was given to King Arthur from the Lady in the Lake, and it has magical properties. It's basically indestructible, and it helps King Arthur win his battles. And so to name your knife after this mythological sword of such fame really does take a lot of guts, but it's a little corny, but I think it's appropriate. I think that this is probably one of the best knives out there you can get for the money. This is the Excalibur. So the Excalibur that I got is the full DLC version. It comes in a stonewash version. It comes in a, of course, DLC version, a satin version, and a reverse tuxedo version, which is going to have the DLC blade and a more satin, a lighter body. One of the coolest things about this knife is that it has an integral body. This titanium body is integral, so it doesn't have 2 pieces of titanium sandwiched together on a frame. It has 1 piece of milled titanium. That's it. So to make the tolerances and everything fit right and to mill it is just quite a work of art and quite a work of engineering. It is very solid feeling. Any integral body knife is going to just feel very strong, very sturdy in your hands. It's not, like I said, it's not 2 pieces of titanium. It's 1 solid milled out piece of titanium. We have the traditional Kunwu diamond texture to this titanium, and it's all TC4 titanium. It's high quality titanium that is making up this knife. We have this awesome Damascus pivot that we find on most Kunwu knives. I think it's just a great touch of flair they put on there. And we have a Vanex Super Clean blade. Now, Udelholm's Vanex Super Clean is the competition to CPM's Magna Cut. And basically, Vanex is like the nitrogen-based version of Elmax. So instead of being a carbon-hardened steel, it's a nitrogen-hardened steel, which a nitrogen-hardened steel is very corrosion-resistant. You're going to be able to take this knife in any environment and not get rust or patina on the blade. Now the DLC coating on the blade from Kunwu is top notch. All the Kunwu DLC is always great. It is a fingerprint magnet, I'll give it that. But if you're okay with wiping your blade down when you're trying to take photos of it or videos of it, the DLC coating that it has will take a beating and keep on ticking and look great. I've not put this knife through those paces yet, but I have taken my Kunwu S-Tau which is another DLC blade, and just absolutely went to town on this knife, and it left no marks. I went through so much cardboard, so much colored cardboard, so much tape, so many things that should tear a knife finish up, and it is basically, with the exception of fingerprints, spotless. Now let's go through the dimensions of the Excalibur. We have an overall length of 8.38 inches. We have a blade length of 3.58 inches. We have a blade width of 1.3 inches, and we have a blade thickness of 137 thousandths of an inch, which is actually very narrow. And when I look down on this narrow blade, I get a ton of that shaman feeling. I really think that this drop point, spear point blade that Metal Complex has designed really takes a lot from a mixture between the shaman and the Strider SNG. I think if you kind of merge those two blade styles together, you're going to wind up with this Excalibur blade. And I really like it. It has a good feel in my hands. Now, the feel of this knife and the size of this knife is really close to not only the Hinderer XM18. As far as length goes, you have a 3.5 inch blade, 3.58 inch blade. You can see that the lengths are almost the same. You can see that they have the two cutouts for the fingers, so you can grip up on the knife the same. But what actually I find that is similar between these two knives is the sturdiness. He took all the workhorse out of the Hinderer and put it into the Excalibur. You can just tell that the Excalibur is tough like a Hinderer, and that's what Hinderers are known for. Hinderers are known for being able to take a beating. You can take this knife on the job site and just throw anything you want at it, and it is going to keep on cutting, keep on slicing. Just keep on going. This is a tough knife, and so is this one. Now, ironically, the feel in the hand, I think, is closest to the Umnumzan. And when you look at these two knives, you might think, how does this one feel just like this one? Well, the way your hand sits on this knife and where I put my thumb and how I grip it, the Excalibur, I do just about the same. They aren't the same shapes, but how it fits into my hand and how I grip it and where the jimping is on the spine of this blade and where the jimping is on the spine of this blade and just how I just bear down onto this knife is very much how I bear down onto this knife. And I love it because the Umnumzan is one of my absolute favorites. It's a grail knife to me. It is one of those knives that I think there's just not much better than this knife out there. When it comes to heavy use, hardwork knives, Chris Reeves Umnumzan is my go-to. If I had to rely on one knife to save my life that was a folder, I'd have staked my life on a knife. That rhymed. It wasn't supposed to be corny like that. But if I had to stake my life on a knife, a folding knife, it would be the Chris Reeve Umnumzan. And he took that durability and that feel and just that spirit of the Umnumzan and kind of instilled it in his Excalibur. Now, I'm not incredibly familiar with the SNG as I don't have Mixed Riders SNG, and I'm really not familiar with the Hogue Griptilian either. But I know those are both great knives, and I know that he put aspects of those knives into this knife. I do know what the blade shape of the SMG looks like, and I do see a lot of the blade shape. Like I said earlier, the blade shape of the Excalibur is kind of like you mix the Shaman from Spyderco and the SNG from Mixed Strider. You kind of get this blade shape. Now, the action on this knife is superb as well. It runs on bearings. The frame lock is just great. There is no stick to the frame lock. The detent is wonderful on this knife. You can just hear it as it closes. Nice, solid close. It has a double detent, little double pop on the open. And that is just beautiful. If you can hear that, I love that. That reminds me of a Sabenza 31. The double detent, just that double click at the top, and it is just music to my ears. We have thumb studs and a finger hole as far as how we can open this knife. I like using the finger hole and the thumb stud for my forefinger for the reverse flick. I can use both the finger hole and I can use the thumb stud on the side, and it just flicks out very strong with a good crack. I like the thumb stud for flipping it with my thumb. And then if I want to do a slow roll with the knife and kind of experience the detent, I like the hole, the finger hole with the thumb. Oh, man, that sound. When it locks into place, that is just beautiful. Metal Complex, I know you did that on purpose. It's just music to my ears. Now, the clip has been upgraded from the original Excalibur. I did not own the original Excalibur, but the clip was an issue with it. It's no longer an issue. This clip is awesome. It works just fine. It holds down just like any other Kunwu would. And then the appearance of this knife also keeps with Kunwu. I think it looks like a Kunwu knife. If you look at one of my favorite knives, the Kunwu Padre, it looks very different than the Padre, but it also has parts of it that are the same. Not only just the Damascus pivot, but just kind of how the knife has this aura about it that's just Kunwu. The S-Tau too. You can just tell that these are all Kunwu knives. Something about them is just similar. Now, of course, the texture on these two titaniums are exactly the same, but beyond that, it has that Kunwu aura to it, which I just think is great. I think Kunwu for the price is some of the best knives you can buy. Now, this is about a $400 knife. I think it could be more than that, but $400 I think is very fair for this knife. I think an integral body, Van X blade, everything put together, Kunwu gives you a great deal for everything you get out of this knife. You get a much higher end knife than what this price suggests. I think that it is an absolute no-brainer to get the Excalibur. If you are into anything that is like Kunwu, if you're into any integrals, if you're into high-end knives, I really think you should take a look at the Excalibur. I think it cuts way above its price point. I think it's an absolutely subtly beautiful knife. I think that it is a very sturdy, strong, and easy to use knife. I think this is a complete win. Metal Complex, Kunwu, you guys outdid yourself. This is a great knife. So overall, I would give this, 9.5 to 9.8 out of 10. It is a real winner. I'm going to be keeping this in my lineup forever. I don't think I'm going to be ever selling this knife. I think this is one of those keepers, and I think you'll find it to be a keeper too. So with that being said, I'm going to close out this review. This is the Metal Complex and Kunwu collaboration, the Excalibur. It's a great knife. It is a beautiful knife. It is a sturdy and strong knife. It is one of the best knives that I think you can get for your money. If you haven't tried an Excalibur yet, go check it out. I think it is definitely a worthy knife. I hope you like it as much as I do. So, this has been the Metal Complex and Kunwu collaboration, the Excalibur. I'm your host, Garrett, and you've been watching the Cutting Room Knife Review. Until next time, guys, stay sharp.